Our story today is about a family who dreamed of a good life in another country. The Gotingco family is one of those who are lucky enough to work and live in New Zealand. Their life was very beautiful and very good when suddenly the worst dream happened in their lives, when the light of the home of the Gotingco family was murdered was Blessie Gotingco. Blessie Gotingco was 56 years old when the crime happened. She was a native of Cebu City, Philippines, and it is also where she met her husband about 30 years ago, who was Antonio Gotingco. They were childhood friends and also went to the same school when they were young. After they dated for a few years, they then decided to get married and had 3 children, two boys and a girl. It was in 2004 that the family decided to live in Auckland, New Zealand. Blessie was happy and content with her life in New Zealand. Her husband had a stable job and also had many friends there. The Gotingco family had close family ties, and often they always go for walks and make good memories together. She was the only woman that Antonio loved, and his world revolves around Blessie and their daughter. They had been together through hardships and comforts for more than 30 years. According to Antonio, Blessie is the light of their home, the love of his life, and his closest best friend. He always tells Blessie that if someone dies first, it should be him, because he can't live without Blessie. However, on the 24th of May, 2014, the life of the Gotingco family changed forever. Blessie didn't come back home after her work on that day, and it was 8 o'clock at night in Birkdale in Auckland, New Zealand. When Blessie was on her way home from her job at an insurance company, she took a bus ride for transport, which was bus 973, and when she got to the bus stop near her house, Blessie decided to walk because it was only 5 houses away from her home. It was a cold night and she was walking fast because Blessie was not comfortable walking on that part of the road. It was also dark, yet she still decided to go on so that she could go home quickly. And during that moment, it was Blessie's last night here on earth. Bea, who is Blessie's daughter, came home from work around 3 in the morning. When she noticed that her mother was not still at home, she then called her 2 brothers. They also didn't know where Blessie was. Bea tried to find her mother with the help of the Find My iPhone app at around 6 o'clock in the morning, which they found Blessie's cell phone on the grassland on Salisbury Road, 100 yards away from their house. In the same place, they also found a shoe that belonged from Blessie and a lunchbox that she usually uses. When the police arrived, they thought it might be a case of a hit and run due to the position of Blessie's belongings. But while investigating, it became more clear that something tragic happened to Blessie. A woman who lives near the area of the incident said that she heard a woman scream that night. At the same time, Blessie got off from the bus. The police checked the CCTV, and that's when they saw a BMW car which had overtaken the bus that Blessie was riding. This led the police to question a 20-year-old Tony Douglas Robertson, who was known to be the driver of the said vehicle. According to Tony, he didn't know who Blessie Gotingco was. It turns out that Tony Douglas Robertson had just been released from prison 5 months before the crime took place. He was on an extended supervision order. The police are monitoring him 24 hours using a GPS. In addition, he also had a curfew time from the police where he should be at home before 8 o'clock in the evening until 6 o'clock in the morning. Because of the GPS tracking device was attached to Tony, the police were able to track his every movement that day. They saw that he was at the same bus stop, the time when Blessie also got off from the bus. After that, he went to the Exdale Cemetery which was also tracked, and in the next morning, Tony again returned to that same cemetery. This gave the police suspicions and decided to search the Exdale Cemetery, and together with the help of police dogs, just 2 days after starting the search operation, Blessie's body was discovered under the pine trees. Blessie's body was covered with leaves and debris while wrapped in a blanket. Blessie was raped and her body was repeatedly stabbed multiple times. The police immediately arrested Tony and charged him with murder and rape. According to reports, details of his previous cases, but the jury only released these details after he was sentenced. When Tony was only 18 years old, he had already a case for kidnapping and molesting a 5-year-old girl, which he was charged for this to 8 years in prison. He was then later released in December 2013, 5 months before the murder of Blessie. While he was out of prison, Tony violated twice the conditions of his release. The judge who handled the case said,